If you want ideas on how to make a living in the country, well then you've come to the right place, so stay tuned. Today I've been joined by Mike Wiles, who's from the YouTube channel AskTractorMike.com. Mike, we seem to be seeing more and more people moving to the country.
And that was going on before COVID, but it seemed like the COVID thing sped it up.
Which brings us to the point of the video: how can someone make life in the country work?
If you're moving out of a metropolitan area and you own your house, you could probably sell it and move out to the country and buy a lot of land and a nice house for what you had in your city house. And a lot of people are doing that. But if your goal is to move out of the city and you're just getting started in life and live in the country, then you're like, well, how do I pay for this?
When I was working, I spent over 41 years working in sales, and I could have really worked in the country just as easily as working in the suburbs. All I needed was easy access onto the interstates to take me to any of the places I needed to go. You know, it really is a noble profession, and it pays well because it's a profession that a lot of people either don't have the confidence or they just don't want to do.
I teach agriculture sales at Missouri State University, and a lot of these kids that are ag kids want to go back to the farm, but if dad's not ready to retire, then they've got to figure out a way of making a really pretty decent living to pay for the land and the lifestyle. And so, you know, I teach ag sales. Sales is a career that you know, anybody could look at, and a lot of sales jobs are remote. You're working from wherever you are. And so I teach the kids, you know, get a sales job. You generally have above average income, and a lot of the salespeople move up to management. And sales jobs have actually grown with the advent of the internet because we have so many choices. We miss that human contact. So if you're good at sales, you can work in a small town in, say, real estate or insurance. Or maybe you work as a salesperson at the local equipment dealership, or you're a feed salesperson or whatever. So there's a lot of ag-related sales jobs. I try to teach folks, don't just restrict yourself to ag. There's lots of jobs outside the ag sector that are profitable too. So if you're wanting a rural lifestyle, sales is a great way to get it. That would be my #1 way of telling people that are wanting to move to the country, get a sales job, and I think that'd be a good way of starting.
Now let's talk a little bit about people that want to work remotely. There are a lot of people after COVID now that have employers that don't mind if they work out of their home, but there's some things that people need to be aware of, and that is that the infrastructure in the country isn't what it always is in the city. It depends on where you live, and I know, Mike, you know that firsthand.
Yeah, Paul, there's a problem with you know, both internet and phone service in rural areas. I live a couple of miles out of a pretty good sized town, about 20,000 people, and my internet choices are lousy and expensive and lousy. And so I go with the lousy one that's cheap, but it's a problem. Most of my uploads that I do for my YouTube channel, I do here at Missouri State University. I teach on Tuesday night, and I'll drag up a bunch of files to upload, and if I didn't have access to that, I don't know if some of them, if I could get them uploaded. If you get over a 10-minute video, you're with my internet, you can't upload it very easy. So, and it's spotty, it's inconsistent, so a lot of that stuff you got to consider when you move to the country. You've got to deal with what you've got there.
You know, many of us are familiar with Mike Rowe, the Dirty Jobs guy that's on TV. And Mike is a big proponent of people getting into blue-collar work and trades because of the shortage that's starting to occur all over the country.
Yeah, you don't want to discount the blue-collar jobs either, because like right now there's a tremendous, I think it's worldwide, shortage of diesel mechanics. And when you think about it, every smaller metropolitan area has probably got a Caterpillar dealer or a big truck dealership, a Kenworth or whatever, or a tractor dealership, and there's a big demand for diesel mechanics. And some of those guys make more than the white collar guy or lady that's the boss of the department. So If you can turn wrenches and you understand electronics and mechanics, you can make a lot of money right now as a mechanic. Now, the downside of that, in the COVID thing, when the salespeople were sheltering in place and still doing their job, the person that had that blue-collar job had to still get up and go to work. So you need to factor all that in. And you need to factor in when you're young, you might get a job making a lot of money as a mechanic, but how long can your body do that? And at 20, it seems like forever, and at 50, maybe not so long. So you need to have kind of an exit strategy when you get older in a job like that.
It would seem to me that if someone isn't quite sure if making a move to the country is right for them, they should probably try out some things before they make that decision.
Maybe you want to go to an Airbnb and spend a week there and see what it's like. There's lots of Airbnbs and VRBOs, whatever they are out in the country. Go out and live the lifestyle and find out what it's like for you. Pull up stakes and move. It may not be for you. Maybe once a year is all you want to go out there. But if you love the country, it's a great lifestyle. I wouldn't trade it for anything. But it's not for everybody. But it's great to have land and have stuff to do all the time.
So if you're just starting out, Mike, what are some of the suggestions that you would have for people?
Yeah, if I was a young person wanting to move to the country, you know, college degree is still important. If you're wanting to go into white collar work, if you're wanting to go into blue collar work, there's lots of tech schools out there that can give you the skills you need to move forward in a career like that. But get all the education you can and hang out with people that are doing it in the country now. I think if you could find a local farmer, I always tell people, if you think you want cattle and hay, find somebody in your area that's been successful with it and see if they'll you know, work out a deal where you can work with them for a few years and kind of get the feel of the equipment and things like that. I've got a buddy that he bales hay around Springfield, Missouri. He'll take a land that's being developed and maybe there's going to be houses on it at some point, and right now it's just a big field. He'll cut it and bale it for hay. And if you found him and said, I'll work for you because I just want to learn how all this stuff works and see what you do, oh, he'd put you in a tractor seat in a heartbeat.
Hey, thanks, Mike, and thank you for watching.